Hey everyone! Today I'm standing in a garden right off our patio that I actually completely replanted this spring. I just wanted to give you a quick update of what this looks like because I know sometimes it's nice to check back in and see how projects turned out. So first of all, let me just sum this up by saying I have never actually been happier with a project this early on as I am with this area of the garden. I struggled with this area for a really long time, as I mentioned in that video. And it's so great to see things coming together the way I had sort of envisioned it. That often isn't the case. You can't control, you can imagine things, but they don't necessarily always come to fruition. The one thing I will say, and we're going to start with, is this tree. You might recall that when I planted up this garden, the tree that was here was looking not great. And I suspected that it might have some vascular damage, that I might have purchased it from the nursery with that because it never leafed out. Well, it turned out it never really did leaf out. I got a new dogwood. This is a Rosy Teacups dogwood. We're going to try this one here. I just didn't want to waste any more time. That tree was not leafing out, and I didn't want to waste a whole growing season with nothing here, only to replace that next year. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed for this one, and I've talked to that nursery about the first one. They agree with what happened with it. So let me just quickly show you around the rest of what's happening in this garden. So if I have to pick a part of the garden that I'm most happy with, it's right here along the path. First of all, we'll just start with the part that's right here. This is two Supertunia Bubblegum petunias that have just gone nuts, which is exactly what I was hoping they would do. Nice, big, bright pop of color there. But behind that is the Salvia argentea that you will recall that I grew from seed. And when we planted those plants, they were like this big. And now there's these huge gargantuan things that I'm just loving. Next to that, we've got Rockin Fuschia Salvia, which has just been filling this area up, blooming like crazy and doing exactly what I wanted to do, which was bring in the hummingbirds. Next to that, I've got an existing purple sedum that was here. And then we've got the three Stand By Me Clematis. Now, those had a rough go in the beginning. I've never really had clematis get attacked by insects before, but the slugs hit them hard in the beginning. They have rebounded and they're all flowering now, but it's a little hard to see where they're flowering because behind that I planted Cerenthe. And I'm not sure I did that in the video, but I think I might have mentioned it in that video. And the Cerenthe has just gone nuts, which I love. In the front here is that Gallery Art Nouveau Dahlia that I put here, which is doing, again, I'm really happy with how that's performing here, and I love that we've carried the pink across the front here. And in front of that is the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta in there, which is being eaten a little bit by the petunias and the dahlias, but it's hanging in there just great. I just want to point out behind that, this is an onion that was behind here. This is a Welsh onion, Allium Fistulum, I believe, which is done doing its thing. The seed heads are there now and the seeds are starting to drop from it. I've not had a lot of luck collecting the seed and regrowing it, so I just let it there and I let it seed all over, and it usually pops up. Between there, I've got coming up through there Arabella clematis, a great clematis that I like to let sort of romp around the garden at its own pace. Let me just, oh, and then the grasses in here, which you remember that's autumnalis grass that I planted in there. And that's just starting to flower, which is really nice. Nice little seed heads on that, but what's nice about this one the most is the height is really controlled. Sometimes grasses can get a little tall. One of the plants that I didn't talk about but was existing was this variegated iris, which didn't flower this year, which is actually okay. I just think the foliage is so pretty that I like it there. One of the plants that a lot of people were concerned about was that I said I was planting globe thistle. Well, there are thistles that are weeds. This is Echinops, which is an ornamental plant in the thistle family. You can see that the foliage looks very much like thistles, and we're actually dealing with a little bit of powdery mildew on there and some bugs, but you can see why I planted it. I mean, check out these gorgeous blue flowers. Just beautiful. Down here, this is all Phlomium russeliana, which looks a lot like burdock right now, so it's not doing much, but it should get these beautiful yellow kind of candelabra type flowers. Now, an area that I didn't replant in that video, but I did replant separately, was right in front of us here. I moved all these Millennium alliums, which I had kind of spread around, into the same area, and those are right by June Hosta and stripe it rich Hakonechloa grass. And you can see, I think, that those alliums are very popular with bees and butterflies and insects and every kind of pollinator you can imagine, and just a nice bright color. Highly, highly, highly recommend that plant. One of my favorite little vistas in this area is this, and it's because of the bread seed poppies, also known as opium poppies, seed heads that are all right here. Now those all flowered, they were a light pink, and they were singles and doubles, and they were beautiful. But I love the structure of those seed heads. I would grow these poppies for just their seed heads. The flowers are just kind of a nice little bonus, but I think those are beautiful. Now that's not something that I planted as part of this garden, but it's a nice little vista beyond this that I think is really pretty. Okay, you guys, that's just a super quick look at this garden because I just wanted to update you on how it's looking. We're just going to keep following this garden as it grows, and you know, we'll see what the future years bring, but it's an area that I'm really happy with now, and I hope it looks this great in the future as well. Let me know what you think, if it turned out, if you thought it would look like this, or if there's a favorite plant that you see in here. It's pretty amazing to me, once again, that we just planted this up a couple months ago, and here we are standing in all this beauty, and these plants have grown so well. It does make you feel good when that happens, because it doesn't happen every time. But when it does, you got to take these moments and you just have to enjoy them. So I hope you're enjoying something in your garden today, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.